Hey folks, it's Friday, June 26th, 2026. Midsummer. The days are already getting shorter. Election is coming, and this election's got a weird character to it now. Donald Trump went to the Senate this week. He hasn't done that in a long time. Most presidents go down and meet with their caucuses periodically, and they get together, they make a few deals here and there, they talk back and forth. They work together to advance the political agenda of their party. Republicans do this, Democrats do this, and it's an honor for the president to come down to the Senate or the House to meet with the caucus. But this week, Donald Trump came and went to war with his caucus in the U.S. Senate, and it was the most foolish, arrogant, insane thing I think he could have possibly done. And that, my friends, is this week's elephant in the room. So why does it matter? Why does it matter that Donald Trump went down to the Senate after a very long absence from that august body at the invitation of Senator Rick Scott, R, Medicare fraud, instead of the Senate Majority Leader John Thune? Thune has a total of 53 bodies in the U.S. Senate right now. And the things Trump is asking Thune to do are impossible politically. Rick Scott didn't see it that way. Why did Rick Scott invite him? Because Rick Scott hates John Thune. He wants to be Senate Majority Leader or Minority Leader, which is looking increasingly like.
Knocking like the speakers in a race. All gas, no brakes. I was born to take the throne from the park.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you.
And then she gets him, and she gets him. And the mother's screaming, "Darling, I love you, darling." And the father's looking, saying she has no chance. And she's like this, "You see,
The symbolism of his presidency, it wasn't just about race. it was also about the way you show up as a leader. You know, it's not just the color of our leaders, but the character of our leaders, and how they show up in the world, and the responsibility that they take to use their platforms in a mature, wise way.
She's like this, you see.
If you listen close enough when hearing the former president and first lady speak, you'll hear a collective sigh from Americans across the country, remembering what was compared to what is.
I've won 3 elections, so we done. But we did great in the second one. It was a rigged deal. Under the last administration, Sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, I changed the name. It's dumb. I will probably always, until they become reasonable, I'll use a U instead of an E. It's very simple. Most people don't know there's a B in dumb, so it's a very simple change. I take out the E and I put in the U, and they're Democrats because their policies are so dumb. So that came out a little while ago, and they hate the farmer too. So do you know that they hate you? You know that, don't you? Anyway, the Democrats, they gave us the worst inflation.
For the past week, the Obamas have been in front of the camera more than usual. First at the opening of the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago, then for a sit-down with People magazine, reminding the American people what great orators actually sound like, especially compared to the man who turns up to every rally with the same tired tropes.
I think there are kids who, growing up under my presidency, said, yeah, of course you can have a black president. Why not? I'm confident that when we get a female president.
The military has been forced by foolish and reckless politicians to focus on the wrong things. In many ways, this speech is about fixing decades of decay. Some of it obvious, some of it hidden. Or as the chairman has put it, we are clearing out the debris, removing the distractions, clearing the way for leaders to be leaders. You might say we're ending the war on warriors. I heard someone wrote a book about that.
Combat tested and respected members of the U.S. Armed Forces, General Christopher Donahue, is retiring early, forced out by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. At just 56, General Donahue, a former Delta Force commander, had been expected to serve for years to come. Instead, he's now one of more than a dozen senior officers recently shown the door. Face the Nation moderator and chief foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan joins us now with more. Margaret, great to have you here. What's this all about?
Well, Tony, this may be one of the most remarkable purges to date because of how exemplary this particular four-star general's career has been. According to one U.S. official, Hegseth himself told General Donahue he needs to retire by the end of the summer, and Donahue has, we've confirmed, handed in his retirement papers, even though there was this behind-the-scenes effort by some on Capitol Hill for more than a month now to try to salvage his career. The Pentagon explains it as a push to shrink the number of generals and admirals, but multiple sources told CBS this appears to be an effort to squeeze out officers in favor of political loyalists, and that is significant because the military is supposed to be apolitical.
It's very significant. Was there any friction between Hegseth and Donahue?
On the face of it, Donahue would appear to be the kind of warrior leader Hegseth says that he wants, and officials deny to us any personal clash or any conflict. They say the two men only ever met once. In fact, here's a photo of it. He was famously the last U.S. soldier to leave Afghanistan and one of the first to help in Ukraine, but Donahue's support role in that chaotic exit from Afghanistan back in 2021 may have made him a target. Hegseth is conducting his own new review of that withdrawal, and he's expected to take action, perhaps against senior officers who executed that pullout ordered by the last president. It's also happening as the administration reviews the size of America's military footprint in Europe, where Donahue is the top Army commander.
How long you been driving?
2 years, done with it.
What now?
News.
Hello, Bobby Jones here from Midas Touch and Valor Media Networks. So the clip you just saw was one of Pete Hegseth talking about how the war on warriors has now ended since he's become Secretary of Defense, or as he likes to call himself, the Secretary of War. And then another clip, the most recent firing of an actual warrior in a 4-star position in the United States military. What Pete Hegseth described as his war on woke has been the exact opposite. The very people he is said to value, the very type of leaders that he says he wants, he has fired in droves. Pete Hegseth has declared a war on warriors, and I'm going to explain how. Since coming into office, it's been very clear that Pete Hegseth wants a certain type of general or admiral to lead the Department of Defense. Now, at first, people said, well, you know, a new administration, he can hire whoever he wants, and it's obvious that he wants a certain type of leader, one that looks very much like him, but at the same time, he should be looking for warrior leaders, as he puts it. Well, let's take a look at the firings of the people that he has removed, but most importantly, forget their educational background and their command experience. Let's look at the actual combat records of these leaders. Let's start with General Brown, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, only the second African American to hold that position after General Colin Powell did in the 90s. Now, yes, he's a 4-star Air Force general, but specifically, he flew actual combat missions in Desert Storm, Southern Watch, Enduring Freedom, and Iraqi Freedom. He oversaw operations against ISIS in 2015 and 2016, and then had to eject from an F-16 in a training emergency. So he understands the risk of every time he got in a cockpit, how dangerous it was. So a distinguished combat record, being the actual point of the spear, as people like to say, and then overseeing other combat operations. Let's look at Admiral Lisa Franchetti, who he also had removed. Career surface warfare officer. Now, she was the head of the United States Navy, and the biggest thing that Hegseth said against her was she had no actual combat experience. However, when she was in charge of the United States Navy, two major things. In combat, the ships that came under Houthi fire in the Red Sea, those ships were manned, trained, and equipped to actually execute the mission, and not one ship was touched. And while doing all that, making sure that the Navy hit its highest state of readiness in decades, she also met every recruitment goal that the Navy had set out, 100% recruitment consistently, which had not happened for years. So not only was she creating an environment where her sailors could perform, she was also bringing in the next generation of sailors fully manned and ready to roll. This continues into the Army. General George, who was fired as the Chief of Staff for the Army during the Iran War, 101st Airborne Division, Operation Desert Storm, multiple Iraq War deployments, and then commanded the 4th Brigade Combat Team in Afghanistan during Operation Enduring Freedom. The man was a soldier's soldier. You cannot find anybody to say anything negative about him. And many defense officials, high-ranking, both military and civilian, were absolutely shocked by his removal, especially when it happened. To quote one defense official, they said, here's a 4-star general actively working to get equipment into theater, and you fire him in the middle of a war? That's how shocked people were. But this is because Hegseth doesn't want warriors. Hegseth wants lackeys. When you look at the fact that Admiral Alvin Halsey was also basically forced to retire for U.S. Southern Command. Why? Because he refused to violate international law when it comes to the conduct of war, and just shooting and striking and sinking ships in the Caribbean and the Pacific without proper justification and going through proper protocols for it. He said no. Once again, a combat leader, thousands of hours of flying in the most dangerous areas in the world. Again, exactly what Hegseth said he wanted. Again, removed because he was not compliant enough to do the things that they wanted him to do, even if they were illegal. Which leads to the latest firing, a man who literally is supposed to be everything that Hegseth wants, General Donahue, the last man to leave Afghanistan, famously boarding his aircraft to make sure every American had gotten out. A West Point graduate, 20 plus years in special operations. The man led Delta Force. Delta Force is like the Avengers of the United States military. The most badass people put in the hardest circumstances, doing the hardest things. Over 18 total combat deployments. He commanded the 82nd Airborne Division, which is revered for what it does. And what happens? He gets told to retire, to fire, because of the fact that he was associated with the withdrawal from Afghanistan, even though he was doing what he was ordered to do, and for the fact that Hegseth doesn't know if he's loyal enough to him and Donald Trump. It's that simple. So what we're seeing is a concentrated effort to remove competency, the actual warrior ethos that Hegseth talks about, for political lackeys. Report after report after report says that they want the generals and admirals of the United States military to be basically political appointees that lack the combat experience that 20 years of Afghanistan and Iraq actually gave them, that lack the actual esprit de corps of the people they lead. No, they want loyalists. And how's that working out? When you look at what's happening around the world, the politicians of the United States putting the military in very, very bad positions, being led by people who are no longer the most competent, and you get the Iran fiasco. At the end of the day, the only war that Hegseth is winning is destroying the ethos of the American military.
A big tray gets half seasoned fries and half creamy mac and cheese. Then 12 hot chicken tenders get chopped up and piled high on top of that fluffy sauce mac and cheese and fries to look like this. And it gets another drizzle of fluffy sauce. Which side are you digging into first? This is
What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. I hope everybody out there is having an awesome, awesome day. It is hot as balls out here, y'all. It is like 90 some odd degrees. There's not even a hint of wind. I feel like I'm sitting in a sauna. So I'm probably going to sweat bullets shortly. And just bear with me, y'all. Just bear with me sweating like a pig. Can't help it. Got a lot of breaking news here to get to. So let's go ahead and start with this. The Supreme Court, y'all. The Supreme Court is completely and utterly out of control. They are unhinged. They are absolutely ruining this country day after day. I wish I was kidding. I'm not kidding at all. Shout out to my friend Josiah, Pondering Politics. Check out his YouTube channel. He said this to me a while ago, and he's 100% correct. He told me the number one issue we have to deal with is the Supreme Court, because if we don't, everything we do doesn't matter. We could pass something that's good policy, that's constitutionally allowed, that's intelligent, and the court would still just lie and say, nope, that's unconstitutional, and we are now striking it down. So this is just a crisis, the likes of which I can't even put into words. This court needs to be dealt with, okay? It needs to be dealt with. We need to come up with a code of ethics and impeach the justices who violate it, which is like quite literally all of the conservative ones. We need to pack the fucking court. I'm open to any and all solutions, radical or not, in order to rein in these judicial supremacists and extremists, because that's what they are. They're judicial supremacists and extremists. They have massively overreached and gone beyond the scope of their powers, and they're doing it because they're beholden to big money and MAGA and the Republican Party, and it's humiliating and embarrassing, and it is quite literally destroying this country. So the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Trump regime and their bid to end deportation protections for Syrian and Haitian immigrants, telling Syrian and Haitian immigrants to go fuck themselves. A decision that is so severe and so extreme that even the Republican Congressman Mike Lawler came out and said, yeah, I kind of disagree with this, because these people definitely have a claim to protected status, because I don't know if you've seen Haiti at the moment, but it's kind of rough. You're going to send them back to that situation with no concern whatsoever? Like, I guess the law doesn't matter anymore. I guess following the rules doesn't matter anymore. And quite literally, it doesn't. Quite literally, it doesn't. In fact, the Supreme Court also sided with the Trump regime's defense of government authority to curb asylum claim processing at the U.S.-Mexico border ports of entry. So in other words, what they're saying there is the U.S. government can basically ignore and dismiss and swat aside and sweep under the rug a bunch of different asylum claims because, you know, they came up with, oh, on a technicality, you didn't go through the exact way that we want you to go. Even though, again, they just made it up. They just made it up. Like, they did go through a way that was acceptable. Now the Supreme Court is going, well, that way is not acceptable. So the implication seems to be you have to illegally get into the country and stay here and then try to get asylum, not go through an official port of entry and claim it there at the border. They say, oh, that doesn't count as you claiming asylum because you're not in the country. You can't claim asylum yet. You got to be in the country first. So they're actually incentivizing, like, break the law first, and then maybe we'll allow you in, even though we won't then either, but do that. So I'm just absurd. They are officially trying to usher in Stephen Miller's white nationalist utopia, his fake utopia. That's what they're trying to do. This is white nationalism to the max, y'all. That's what this is. And it's the conservative justices who are delivering all of these decisions. Okay, we also have the Supreme Court sided with the challengers to a Hawaii law that restricted the carry of handguns on certain private property. So now, on certain private property, if you're in Hawaii and you say, we don't want you carrying guns here in this area, now the person can go, fuck you, I'm going to carry my gun on this private property. Like, what the fuck is that? What are we going back to the wild, wild west? Is that what we're going to do? You gonna allow people to fucking have opium dens too while we're at it? Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna have shootouts in the street? Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna have duels? Jesus Christ. What are we talking about here? Oh my word. Okay. And then we also have the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the company Bayer, their bid to limit lawsuits in state court claiming Roundup weed killer causes cancer. So this is quite directly a decision that will lead to more people getting cancer because of Roundup. It is limiting the number of people who can sue because they got cancer from Roundup. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. This is humiliating. This is embarrassing. This is partisan hack shit. The Supreme Court loves to suck itself off and say, we're not political. We only care about the law. We only care about justice. We only care about the way the system is supposed to work. And then they do stuff like this, exposing immediately they are partisan hacks. They're the biggest partisan hacks out there. They're completely bought and owned by big business, by billionaires in the Epstein class, by MAGA. I mean, it's just out of this world. It's just out of this world. So if conservatives want to defend this, by all means, be my guest. But you're defending what? The right to have poisonous, toxic, cancer-causing chemicals coursing through your veins when you don't even realize it? Right? Is that what you want? You want the right of a corporation to poison your ass and put you in an early fucking grave? I'm not kidding when I say that a lot of these decisions will simply make it so a lot of us die younger, right? Like, it's that simple. Like, these decisions will make it so a lot of us just die younger. On top of Trump's deregulation of water, of air, you know, basically getting rid of the Clean Water Act and the Clean Air Act, allowing all sorts of chemicals to be dumped all over the place. When you represent industry to this degree, you're just telling the American people to fuck off and die. That's what you're doing. And they don't care. They don't care. So, like I said, we need to reform the court. There's no more questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are not serious about power unless and until we rein in these judicial supremacists and extremists. It's that simple. Okay, now, speaking of humiliating stories, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the other day we were excited because the Senate passed a war powers resolution telling Trump, sorry, you can't do the war in Iran anymore, which means the House of Representatives tried to rein in Trump's illegal war, and now the Senate tried to rein in Trump's illegal war. Okay, so every Democrat except one, Fetterman, who barely counts as a Democrat, voted the proper way, and then 4 Republicans crossed over to vote with the Democrats. So that would be Murkowski, Collins, Rand Paul, and Bill Cassidy, who just lost because of Trump. So that's him trying to get back at Trump, basically. Well, what happened? A day after this, Trump calls a meeting in his office with Bill Cassidy and with Rand Paul, okay? Reportedly, he berates the fuck out of them. He dresses them down ski, y'all. Yells at them in a way that's just shocking. That's like an angry alcoholic father yelling at his child who pissed him off. That's what we're talking about. What ends up happening? They schedule a vote for the day after. Rand Paul flips his vote from being against the Iran war to just voting present. And Bill Cassidy flips his vote from being against the Iran war to being for the Iran war. These fucking disgusting, sniveling, subhuman filth creatures decided to sell out the entire country because daddy yelled at them. That's what they did. Now, why? Why did they do that? Why did they fall in line so quickly? Why did they cuck themselves? Why did they humiliate themselves? Why did they out themselves as massive cowards? I think the answer is very simple. I think he's probably blackmailing them. I think he probably showed them, here's the dirt I have on you. I know all of your secrets, sexually, corruption-wise, money-wise, I know every law you've ever broken. I know all of that, and I can destroy you. I can have my DOJ arrest you, investigate you. I can have you arrested right the fuck now if I want to. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm the Mad King. I play by my own rules. I have no doubt Trump threatened them in some very clear way in that meeting, and that's why these little bitches came to heel. How humiliating. How humiliating. The Republicans are a disgrace. The entire Republican Party, as I've always told you, it's a terrorist organization. That's what it is. It's a terrorist organization. It's a mob. It's a death cult. They're fascists. They're imperialists. They're colonialists. I've never seen anything like this before. Shame on them, bro. Shame on them. This is just out of this world. They vote to end the Iran war, then immediately flip and go, actually, let's continue it. Because they're hanging something over my head that I don't want to get out there in the public. Who cares if you're secretly gay and you got caught sucking somebody's dick in a New Jersey Turnpike bathroom? You'd rather have more Iranian schoolgirls murdered and bombed to smithereens than that come out? It says so much about these disgusting freaks, doesn't it? Okay. Now, while we're on the topic of the Iran war, we just got word that a cargo ship has been attacked and hit in the Strait of Hormuz. It was hit a few miles off the coast of Oman. And it came 5 hours after the IRGC warned them, hey, don't continue or we're going to attack you. There were also 3 other oil tankers that were seen turning around earlier today while using that same corridor. So at this point, y'all, I genuinely don't know what the fuck is going on anymore. I just saw Robert Pape, who's an expert on this stuff, said 2 days ago that it appears like the Strait of Hormuz is open, but it's operating at 1/3 the capacity that it was before the war. But then I've seen other people say, no, it's not open and it's closed. And now we hear the story of Iran attacking another ship, which would mean all the other ships are going to go, well, we're not going to go through either because they don't want to get attacked. And the insurance companies are going to go, we're not going to insure you because they're attacking people again. Trump just came out and accused Iran of violating the deal, even though, of course, Iran would say, no, you guys never were abiding by the deal because Israel is still in fucking Lebanon and they haven't withdrawn and they're still attacking, right? So as I always told you, this thing is on fucking baby deer legs, this so-called deal. Right now, it looks more like the same fake ceasefire that happened in Gaza. So, I wouldn't bet on this shit, but the bottom line is, they better get that motherfucking Strait of Hormuz open soon enough. Give Iran whatever the fuck they want. Because if you don't, we are going to blow through the entire strategic reserve, and then gas is going to be $6 a gallon or $7 a gallon. There will be shortages. There will be rationing. It's going to be fucking insanity. It's going to be insanity. Trump said it himself. It's going to be bedlam. It's going to be bedlam if we go through all the strategic reserve. And we're there. We're there. We are so close to that happening. So even if Pape is right and the Strait is operating at 1/3 of the capacity it was before the war, that's not enough. That's not enough. So they better get that bitch open. But they don't know what the fuck they're doing, I think, bro. And so it's still an absolute mess. Okay. Speaking of messes, I know you guys have seen this. The Great American State Fair that's happening right now is honestly one of the single most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. Bro, to say this shit is Temu is the understatement of the millennium, y'all. This shit looks like it was slapped together on 3 hours notice. And the people setting it up are getting paid less than motherfucking minimum wage. It's made with like aluminum foil and fucking, cardboard boxes and shit. I'm not kidding when I say the food area, the food tent, lost power and all the fucking ice cream melted. Trump put up this like mock representation of his Arc de Trump. It looks like that bitch is made out of styrofoam. There's like 1/100th the number of people there. that everybody thought was going to be there. I mean, this shit looks like, remember the military parade? Now, I was afraid that was going to be a fascist show of strength and power. I was worried about that. Instead, it was like highlighting the death of an empire. You had these creaky-ass tanks going down the street like... You had these little dinky-ass drones going... buzzing all over the place. You had these fat-ass soldiers with bad posture marching like they didn't even want to fucking be there, sweating their balls off. You had 7 people in the crowd. Most of them have no teeth. Like, that was the military parade. That's what this shit is. This shit, exactly what we saw with the renovation of the reflecting pool, with all the fucking algae and the paint already peeling, and the mob boss dude who got the contract and just robbed us blind and gave Trump a cut, right? It's that, except now in festival form, right? This fair is the same fucking thing. The Maine delegation, nobody came from Maine to be a Maine delegation. So the area for Maine in the Great American State Fair is 2 empty chairs, and then there's like some random facts written on the walls about Maine. That's it. That's the whole fucking thing. Bro, I've never seen anything like it before. It is the most budget-ass shit I've ever seen in my life. But the fact of the matter is what? I guarantee you they're skimming off the top of this shit too. I guarantee you Trump is walking away with a pretty motherfucking penny in his own pocket, because whichever vendors he used on this one, let him skim off the top, because he only picks people who let him skim off the top. That's why he does all these fucking no-bid contracts. You know what this reminds me of? You guys remember this, right? The Willy Wonka exhibit that was just like a total scam. And it was like the saddest thing anybody's ever seen. Somebody standing there in like a Willy Wonka costume or a fucking Oompa Loompa costume or some shit. And it's like empty walls, and it was like the worst exhibit anybody's ever seen. That's what this is, except it's the Great American State Fair for our 250th birthday. Bro, this country is cooked. The 250th celebration went from being like something that was supposed to be fun and interesting to now everybody knows that like we kind of didn't make it 250 years. Our system of government has completely transformed. Like, we have officially become an oligarchy and a kakistocracy. And so, since that's what we are, can we really celebrate 250 years of freedom and liberty and democracy and a constitutional republic? I don't think so. The Trump regime took a massive diarrhea shit and then wiped their ass with the Constitution. They don't care about due process. They don't care about getting warrants. They don't care about free speech. They've destroyed free speech. He does that on a daily motherfucking basis. And now we're going to celebrate the country? What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating?
Pitbull, what's going on,
The things
man?
I want to
Let's
celebrate in
get
this country
to
are
it.
things like,
Let's
you know,
get to it. Let's
Martin Luther
get
King
to
Jr.'s
it.
legacy, the Civil Rights Act, the New Deal.
What's going on, Pitt? How you doing? Top of the morning, top of the morning. What's the word? What's the word? Y'all know what it is, man. Open eyes media. Open them eyes. We still dropping medicine. We still giving out medicine. Absolutely. What's the business?
That's the shit I want to celebrate. What these people want to celebrate is like all self-aggrandizing horse shit. They want to give a biased version of history that excludes black people, that excludes all minority communities, that excludes all the socialism that we have in this country that has made this country better, whether it be Medicare or the VA or Social Security. Like, they want to pretend like we're some sort of white nationalist paradise, as they ironically prove the opposite, because with them in charge, everything looks like, you know, it's on the lowest budget imaginable, and they were just skimming off the top a solid 70% of the funds, right? So just incredible stuff, man. Again, I've never seen anything like it. The Great American State Fair is basically one giant wet fart, and everybody sees it, and everybody knows it, and nobody's going to it. I mean, this is the trashiest government in human history. The fucking UFC fight on the lawn of the White House, where they're like hawking crypto bullshit and gambling bullshit. You have rednecks fighting at the Ellipse. You have people drinking Monster Energy in 100-degree heat and passing out. I mean, this is like idiocracy and like, you know, the hillbilly regime just running this country into the ground. It is so fucking trashy. It is so trashy. If Obama did 1/100th of this, they would have impeached him the next motherfucking day, y'all. The next day. Okay. I got to give you this. Nobody else is going to talk about this. Nobody's going to talk about this. But do you guys remember in the Epstein files, sloppy Steve Bannon was talking to Jeffrey Epstein, and they brought up this Trump aide in his first term by the name of Madeline Westerhout, I believe. Westerhout, something like that. And they call her in their private correspondence knee pads. And they say something to the effect of, well, God bless her because she's doing a job that nobody else wants to do. She's doing a job that certainly Melania Trump doesn't want to do. Know what I'm saying, son? A little sucky $5 in that bitch. A little Monica Lewinsky-ification of that bitch. Again, they called her knee pads. So the speculation was, based on the Epstein files, appears to be relatively verified, in my opinion, that Trump was having an affair with this Madeleine Westerhout aide of his. And yeah, nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it. Never came up. Mainstream media ignored it. We talked about it, like a handful of other people talked about it. Could you imagine if there was secret leaks that showed Barack Obama was getting blown by one of his young female aides? We would never hear the fucking end of it. But we didn't even hear the beginning of it when it came to Trump. Okay, well, guess what? Daily Beast is now reporting this.
Absolutely, Pitt. We're gonna take this thing by the horns, and we're gonna make great shit out of this. Let's get it.
White House aide Natalie Harp's obsession with Trump has become so severe that her own brother has spoken out. He intervened. The title is Trump, 80, accused of very unhealthy relationship with blonde aide, 34 years old. Less than half his fucking age. And they're saying that her obsession with Trump is so severe that her brother needed to intervene. Looks like we got a new Madeline on our hands, y'all. Looks like we got a new knee pads on our hands. Bro, this motherfucker's got 1.5 feet in the grave, dog. How is the blood gonna flow to his penis when the blood can't even flow to his legs? Those cankles are fucking popping. I know you've heard of BBLs, but is there a BBC? Well, BBC stands for something else, but Brazilian Brazilian cankle lift. You get what I'm trying to get at here, right? It looks like this motherfucker had implants in his legs because the blood flow is so poor from his congestive heart failure that his heart doesn't work as well anymore, and he can't pump blood to all the parts of his body he needs to. His hand is fucking rotting off. His neck is fucking rotting off. And I'm supposed to believe his fucking dick plumbing is still working? I don't know, man. I kind of find that hard to believe. But I bet he's trying. Because we know this motherfucker's a disgusting, disgusting horn dog. But 1.5 feet in the grave, still doing his thing with these disgusting cult member little young female aides. Well, I guess the good news is he graduated from the 13-year-olds and now he's at 34. So, Katie Johnson can rest easy tonight, knowing that as he's become geriatric and on the verge of death, he's updated his taste to like, I'll take somebody in their 30s now, as I'm 80. Unbelievable, man. Unfucking believable. Okay. Megyn Kelly is getting a lot of heat, y'all. I don't know if you've seen this, but Megyn Kelly went on her shitty show, which is also on Sirius XM. It's a podcast, but it's also on Sirius XM. And she was talking about the Supreme Court decision to give the middle finger to all the Haitian immigrants. Legal Haitian immigrants, by the way. They're here legally, and the Supreme Court's like, meh, fuck you, get out, right? So Megyn says, quote, "Go home, get out. We know our country is better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic, culture, and values." Bitch, you are in an air-conditioned studio talking about work ethic.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Megyn Kelly saying some shit like that. Yeah, she's not my favorite, but I do use her as a talking point as far as, people who was up Trump's ass now finally coming to the fucking light, even though they're fucking still delusional for ever even having to be talked out of that dumb shit. But yeah, here we go.
You run your fucking mouth for a living. You yap for a living. I do the same thing you do. This is not real work, bitch. This is not real work. Stop. Don't fucking act like you're so special and your shit doesn't stink because you talk on the internet, okay? This is nothing. This is easy. You turn on a camera, you run your fucking mouth, and people listen if you're lucky. That's what that is. I guarantee you your average Haitian immigrant works way fucking harder than Megyn fucking Kelly. a multi-millionaire because she yaps, because she goes for a living, because she goes, I love Donald Trump, he's the greatest, I love Republicans, they're the greatest. Cut to, I'm now turning on Trump, even though I'll continue to back Republicans to the hilt. That's how you get paid, by being a fucking rank propagandist. She continues, you being here only dilutes it for us, dilutes it. Again, why don't you do the goose stepping and the zig heiling as you say this? Dilutes what? Diluting our bloodline? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about ruining your white nationalist paradise? And she says, go back to fucking Haiti. Let me say something very clearly. I would much, much rather be friends with and live next to a hardworking Haitian immigrant than Megyn fucking Kelly. Your bigotry is disgusting. Your xenophobia and your racism is fucking disgusting. You think you're special. You are not fucking special. You think you're a hard worker. You are not a fucking hard worker. You don't know what hard work is. I don't know what fucking hard work is, okay? I was raised in an upper middle class family, and now I run my mouth on the internet for a fucking living. Have some motherfucking humility and respect for people who actually do back-breaking fucking work out there in the hot sun. Do all the things that you don't know how to do and don't fucking want to do. These people are here legally, and you're still this disrespectful of them. I fucking hate this bitch, man. I fucking hate this bitch. By the way, this is where we're at now in this country. We're at this point where you can be this openly racist, be this openly bigoted. By the way, spare me and save me your whole fucking I'm anti-Trump now routine. Shove it up your fucking ass. Because if your anti-Trumpness leads right back to pro-Trump policies and leads right back to the Republican Party, we're not interested. Save us. Shut the fuck up. You're never going to join the proper side. So go to shut the fuck up, Bill, forever. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. God, I hate this bitch. Give us another rant about how, well, Santa just is white, kids. Is that your hard work? Your hard work is telling people Santa's white? Congratulations on that. Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, people like this are your enemy. And they're your enemy because she will never tell you the truth. The actual truth is, we have enemies. There are real enemies in this world. And the enemies are the fascists, the billionaires, and the warmongers. Those are the actual enemies. She doesn't believe in that. She actually supports a lot of the fascist billionaires and warmongers, okay? Her enemies, the ones that she wants to use state power to crack down on, are black people, brown people, right? So, immigrants, Muslims, trans people, sexual minorities. That's who she views as the enemy, right? But what she's doing is divide and conquer for the billionaire class. That's what she's doing. Classic right-wing bullshit is what this is. And we're fucking sick of it, man. We're fucking sick of it. Really? This many years of Trump didn't fucking clue you in that cracking down on immigration is not all it's made out to be? I mean, shit. These people told everybody, hey, if we just crack down on these immigrants, your life is going to be way better off, bro. Just let us crack down on these immigrants, round them up, fucking deport them, make their life a living hell, and then everything will be great. Well, it turns out they did all of that. Go look at everything ICE did. They did fucking all of that. Broke up families, shot tear gas at journalists and babies, shot priests in the face with pepper balls, fucking hit people with cars and shit, drag people to Alligator Alcatraz, 4,000 people are missing, at least 40 people are dead, shooting innocent anti-ICE protesters in the face, breaking up families, shipping them out of the country, sending them to concentration camps to get tortured like fucking Seacot in El Salvador. They made immigrants' lives a living fucking hell. And guess what? Your life is worse. Everything is worse off. Inflation's worse, unemployment's worse, AI is still coming to take your motherfucking jobs, right? The economy is shit. Basically, we're already in a recession for the bottom 80 or 85% of the public. So if cracking down on immigrants would make things better, why didn't it? Things are worse now. Have you thought about that? No, they didn't. They don't care. Because really what it stems from is they're just racist. They're just racist. They're just bigoted. They're just racist. They just want to blame people who don't look like them for all their fucking problems. No, the problem are people exactly like you, Megyn Kelly. It's the fascists, the billionaires, the warmongers, the white fucking Republicans. They're the problem. You're the problem. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. All right. Well, Stephen Miller had a hard time keeping down his 2-inch erection that he had over this Supreme Court decision when it came to asylum. He said, quote, America's doors are fully closed to asylum seekers. If you want asylum, we'll find another country to take you. Okay? Well, guess what? Since October of 2025, 4,499 refugees have been resettled in the U.S. all but 3 of them were South African, white South Africans. Isn't that insane? So he actually is trying to usher in. He actually is trying to usher in a white nationalist, white supremacist society. And his policies are reflecting that, allowing in nearly 5,000 people, almost all of them white South Africans, as decision after decision from both the regime and the disgusting courts all say, if you're black and brown, go fuck yourself. Oh my word, man. Okay. Well, let's talk about some good news here. So the New York Times is reporting that Zoran was able to fulfill his #1 campaign promise of freezing the rent. So a New York City panel just voted to freeze rents for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. Again, that's Zoran's, one of his key campaign promises. And it's handing him yet another major policy win just 6 months into his time in office. He was able to get, I don't know if it's the last 1 or 2 people who were on the board. He was able to get his picks on the board. People weren't sure he was going to be able to do it. He was able to do it. I don't know how he did it. I don't know what deals were made behind the scenes. But he was able to get his people on the board, and then his people delivered on his promise of freezing the rent. So, you know, somebody said it online. They were like, Zoran just keeps hitting this big red make everything better button in New York City. And you know what? That's exactly right. That is what he keeps doing. And that's why the Republicans fucking despise him, and that's why the corporate Democrats fucking despise him, is because he is so good, he's so good, that he shows people what government can do for you. That it's all bullshit that, oh, there's nothing the government can ever do to help you. That's just not true, right? He already cracked down on shitty landlords. He already ordered a deep cleaning of the subway. He handled the winter storm so well that even Republicans were giving him credit. He got Hochul on board for universal child care. That's what's coming next, universal child care, right? He taxed the rich. He just froze the rent. Turns out democratic socialists who are intelligent can find a way to actually make your life better. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. Also, murders in New York City have just reached the lowest level in recorded history under Zoran Mamdani, which, by the way, flies directly in the face of the idea that, oh, the left isn't serious about public safety, and they actually make things worse and crime goes up. Well, then why did we just hit the lowest level ever under Zoran? We also have corporate Democrats, or the Diet MAGA Democrats. They are getting very, very scared of the Mamdani wing of the party. That's their words, not mine. One battleground Democrat said to CNN, they're so concerned about the rise of democratic socialists that they're having serious conversations with donors about leaving the party altogether in the next term. Well, allow me to say to these particular Democrats, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, bitch. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Because guess what? We don't need you. We don't need you. Understand something. The reason we see the rise of Zoran and democratic socialists and candidates just like that is because of the policies. This is the wing of the party that's saying, fuck Israel. Cut off the money to them. Cut off the weapons to them. End these fucking wars. This is the wing of the party that's saying we want Medicare for all and free college and a living wage and unions and taxing the rich and universal daycare. This is the wing of the party that's like, get money out of politics. And so, yeah, people are finally listening to the message. Hey, these people will actually fight MAGA, and here's the policies they support. That's why they're winning. That's why they're winning. And so, if you, as a corporate Democrat, say, I can't be in this party anymore. Okay, well, guess what? The voters actually agree with the Democratic Socialists. So yes, if you are no longer representing the will of the voters in your own party, then get the fuck out. Totally. That's totally fine. Now, for those of you who are centrist Democrats, but now you see where the winds are blowing and you've had a change of heart and you realize, hey, it is what it is. This is what the people want. I'm going to deliver because I'm a public representative. Then welcome. Then welcome. But for those of you who would rather stay loyal to the Israel lobby and the corporate donors and the military-industrial complex, yes, there is a party for you that is in favor of all of those things. It's the Republican Party, and they'd be more than happy to have you. Okay? Also, Axios says Democratic centrists are already plotting how to curb the left bloc's influence next Congress. Quote, you're going to see a group of moderates do exactly the same thing. We won't vote for X unless we get Y. one told Axios. There's going to be a war. Okay, now here's the thing. This is what the Diet MAGA Democrats have always done. This is what the corporate Democrats have always done. This was what Joe Manchin did. This is what Kyrsten Sinema did. These people always, played hardball and said, we're not going to vote for this unless we get this. For the first time ever, we now have some Democrats who are going to throw their weight around as a bloc, but actually represent the people, actually represent what we want, our policies. And so you can't, to threaten us to say, oh yeah, us corporate Democrats are going to do what we've been doing all along. Yeah, we know. But guess what? Now, you're just putting a target on your back by letting everybody know, hey, I'm one of the asshole Democrats that you don't agree with. And you're going to get primaried and you're going to fucking lose. So, look, don't say we didn't warn you. Don't say I didn't warn you. When they say there's going to be a war, bitch, there already is a war. You've been waging war on us for decades. Decades. We're just finally starting to fight back. And the people are now waking up and realizing we're right and you're wrong. So if you want that war, okay, but don't be sad when you lose your fucking seat. In fact, the other corporate Democrats were smarter to just say, yeah, maybe we'll leave the party. Yeah, okay, that's fine. You do that. Because we have all the voters. We have the voters. As soon as voters realize, oh shit, these people represent all of these good policies that I like, and these people are just like Diet MAGA, that's when they were like, okay, yeah, let's go with these new, more radical voices. I'm sorry, but you can't do the whole, let's do politics as usual, when politics as usual led to Donald Trump. You guys led to Donald Trump. The Democratic Party, reflecting you and neoliberalism, gave us Donald Trump. Grow the fuck up. Or would you rather have Donald Trump over leftists? Because that's how captured you are by...
Okay, folks, so y'all see what's going on. Same old. But we're going to do what we do.
History that,
we don't got
you're
no
like,
strikes.
I'd rather take fascism than actual social democracy or democratic socialism.
You know what I'm saying, Pitbull?
That's my wife in the truck here in Anne Arundel County, Maryland.
Yeah. They was just mad at us
14 million views as of this morning.
Yeah.
The
So
comments
let's show
are
'em
exactly
what's
what you
good.
think
Let's
they
get this
are.
medicine
So
out
I
there.
let her take the truck.
Now the largest producer of oil and gas on earth, larger than Russia and Saudi Arabia by far.
It got very ugly for Donald Trump this evening as the entire crowd walked out in the middle of his speech in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump said he would be giving a speech about America's 250th anniversary. It was just this disastrous, divisive speech, and as you saw right there, the crowd walked out in the middle of his speech, and the speech got increasingly deranged as the crowd was leaving. I'll show you yet another video of the crowd walking out on Donald Trump in the middle of his speech. Let's play this clip.
And under my most favored nation agreement on drug prices, we are delivering the largest reduction in drug price history with price differences of 400, 500, and even 600%. Who would think that if you took down a 0.5%, somebody's...
Now, this event began on a disastrous note as Donald Trump's transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, started saying that the band that was there tonight is much better than all of the libtard performers. That's the words that he used, the libtard performers who canceled on the event. Let's play this clip.
Okay, to start this off, I think we have to give a big round of applause for our military band and singers. Way better than those libtards that can't.
Then Donald Trump began his portion of the speech, and he started talking about how vandals destroyed his reflecting pool, and it was going to be so beautiful, but it all got ruined, and the crowd's like, can we just get out of here? What are you talking about? Let's play this clip.
And the reflecting pool that you've heard so much about, which is so incredible, it's been gruesomely vandalized by thugs, bad people. But soon we'll be looking as beautiful as it looked just 2 weeks ago. In fact, I looked at it just a little while ago. It looks perfect already. But we're fixing it. The vandals got to it. They've largely been caught and are being prosecuted. We can't let that happen to our country.
Then Donald Trump said he's got a big announcement. He's going to be doing the Patriot Games, like the Hunger Games with high school students. Let's play this clip.
If you like fireworks, then in August, we're going to have what's called the Patriot Games, a first of its kind competition featuring the greatest high school athletes from all across the United States, and applications are open through July 10th. These are the best athletes in the country, young athletes.
And then he said, and everybody here is doing really well, right? The prices are tumbling. Give a shout out to my cabinet for bringing the prices down. And people are like, the prices aren't down. Could we get the heck out of here? We thought this was supposed to be a speech about America. What the heck is this? Come on, folks. You didn't realize what this was going to be. You're just learning for the first time in any event. Let's play this clip.
Secretary of Agriculture, and those prices are tumbling down. They're tumbling down.
Them people ain't trying to hear that shit. More lies.
We inherited a mess. Brooke Rollins, thank you.
And then Donald Trump says, I did something that no one else did for 3,000 years. There's peace in the Middle East. I did it. I did it, everybody. And everybody there's like, yeah, get us the heck out of here. What are you talking about? You didn't bring peace to the Middle East. You started a catastrophic and unlawful war with Netanyahu. And then you did this MOU with Iran where you basically surrendered. Here, play this clip.
Today, Iran has no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft capacity, no...
His shit on repeat. They thinking he done with that shit, but the program keep kicking back in.
Missile launches, no manufacturing, and their leadership has been obliterated. And for the first time in 3,000 years, we are finally going to have peace in the Middle East. We're going to have peace in the Middle East.
More from Donald Trump here, and he said everyone would laugh at us. Everybody would mock us in the past, and now everybody looks at us like, you're so strong and so hot, America. And people are like, oh my God, this guy is, yeah, he is deranged. That's what I've been saying. Don't y'all watch the Midas Touch Network? Watch what he says here. Let's play this clip.
As you know very well, a short time ago, we were a dead country. We were dead. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're respected by everybody. Nobody's laughing at us anymore.
Bullshit.
2 years ago, there were...
Hey, man, this man, oh my goodness. What the hell? This shit sounds like it's from months ago, because that's the same shit he was saying months ago.
Laughing. Now we're the most respected anywhere. Think of it, anywhere in the world. Where were we 2 years ago? We weren't respected. We were a joke. We're not a joke anymore. Most powerful country in the world. But just like...
Oh, and then more of Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary. He's like, where are all those teenagers out here? Where are all those Gen Zers? Where are all you at? You've been lied to by the hookup culture. The hookup culture and all these con artists on social media. What? Here, play this clip.
Our young people have been lied to. They've been told that they would be fulfilled with hookup culture or some get-rich-quick scheme, or they could find fame in social media and that would fulfill them. But I'll tell you, they found that that's a false promise. That's a lie. And they've sought truth. And in seeking truth, they...
Right. He also said a knife could not cut whatever the hell that pool is made of, man. It sure is funny that the first thing he blames it on is being cut with a knife.
Have gone to church.
Amazing.
They've found the Holy Gospel. They've prayed, and they have found God in historic numbers.
And then Donald Trump said, and we fought 2 world wars to defeat fascism and communism, and we're gonna have to fight more world wars. Who's with me on more world wars? Let's play the clip.
We laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built the great highways, invented the airplane, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism. We're gonna have to do that again. And led humanity into space, and we did it all in the span of just 250 years.
Then he's like, I brought down drug prices 600%. Isn't everybody getting the cheapest health? No, you're a liar. You're a fraud. Nobody's prices are lower. Everybody's prices are higher if they're still lucky enough to have health care, since you ripped health care away from millions of Americans. Let's play it.
And under my most favored nation agreement on drug prices, We are delivering the largest reduction in drug price history with price differences of 400, 500, and even 600%.
And he gives this weird part of the speech where he's like, just like the patriots of 1776, we had to reclaim our sovereignty under my administration, his regime. We've reclaimed the patriots are in control. This is some truly deranged fascist Nazi stuff. Let's play this clip.
But just like those patriots of 1776, over the past 17 months, we have taken power back from the far-off political class. They're trying to gain it back, but it's not going to happen. We have reclaimed our sovereignty, regained our liberty, restored our prosperity, and we have saved our country. In all things, we're once again putting a thing called America.
More from this ridiculous and despicable speech where he says, and Washington, D.C. was disgusting before me, and I made this beautiful. No, you didn't. What are you talking about? You've actually turned it into a junkyard. I've never seen D.C. look so gross as it does right now after what you did to the Ellipse with the UFC fight, with the East Wing, with the algae-infested pool. I mean, this looks horrific. Let's play this clip.
For many years, our country was ruled by politicians who let America and its capital fall into decline and total disrepair. The city named in honor of General George Washington was turned into a national disgrace.
Then he goes on to say, and guess what, everybody? On July 4th, I'm going to do the biggest fireworks ever. Don't you like fireworks, kids? Don't you like fireworks? Here, let's play it.
Now I'll be speaking, I'll be very proudly speaking, as we ring in our 250th year with the largest fireworks display in world history, 10 times larger than any that we've ever done in Washington or in the United States. So if you like fireworks.
And he goes, and guess what? It's going to happen on the 4th. It's going to be a MAGA rally. I'm going to do it. No one else wants to perform, so I'm going to do the MAGA rally on July 4th. Here, let's play this clip.
I don't know how they do it. Then on July 4th, we will have the greatest show of all on the National Mall. Your favorite president will be speaking. So please show up. Because if we have 2 empty seats, you know what's going to happen? The fake news is going to say, he didn't fill out the arena. No, I'll be speaking.
And then he goes, the best is yet to come. Let's play this clip.
In history, there's never been anything like it. But with all of that being said, the best is yet to come.
and then he lies, of course.
Hell yeah, the accordion hands.
He says that we brought in $19 trillion. 19.1 trillion. And Biden brought in 1 trillion. And I brought in 19.1 trillion. Don't you see all those factories being built? No, you're making this up. You're a liar. You're a fraud. You're a con artist. You didn't bring in $19.1 trillion. You didn't bring in more money than Biden. You're just making up fake numbers. There's not 5 trillion. It's not 6 trillion. It's not 2. You made up this number. 19.1, just a deranged lie. Let's play it.
Ever been in the place that we are right now in 4 long years of the last administration, which was a total disaster. They got less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. That's less than $1 trillion in 4 years. In my first 11 months, we secured commitments for $19.1 trillion of new investment from all over the globe, and they're building factories and plants, and they're building everything all over our country.
And then state regime media swoops in. Kellyanne Conway goes, and Lara Trump, because it's regime media and his daughter-in-law is the host, and says, and guess what? Wasn't that speech a unifying speech? Didn't that bring everybody together? Here, let's play. He extended an olive branch. Let's play this clip.
America 250 celebration. The host of My View here on Fox News, Lara Trump, is with us. Lara, what an uplifting, optimistic, patriotic, I would say inclusive opening for America's 250th birthday, which is going to go on for weeks and months now, by President Donald J. Trump. He gave us a report card of success for the country, but I think he also is extending an olive branch to those who may not have voted for him, but are Americans, and he wants everybody to be able to celebrate this incredible moment. He said something so important. How lucky and blessed we are, Laura, to be living through our nation's sesquicentennial. And yes, I did practice that word.
That's bigger than my vocabulary can handle, Kellyanne, I'll tell you that. I keep thinking about not only how lucky we are that we are able to celebrate.
And then the people walking out again. Let's play it.
And under my most favored nation agreement on drug prices, we are delivering the largest reduction in drug price history with price differences of 400, 500, and even 600.
See, it's certain people in MAGA, they don't want to see this. Or they act like they don't see it. But trust and believe me, most of those people that was out there, that was like their last little hoorah on, all right, we're going to rock with this or we're going to not rock with this. Let's go and see what's going on. Because plenty of people know it's bogusness. But most people tried to give it a last chance or a last try. And that shit did not go well. It did not go well at all.
100%. Who will take down? If you took down 0.5%, somebody's...
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MidasPlus.com.
This short 59-page book will make 6 figures on Amazon this year. In fact, I pay ghostwriters to create books exactly like these ones, and then you can sell them for $10 to $20 over and over.
All hell is breaking loose as Ukraine continues to bombard Russia with these drone swarms that Russia's air defense really cannot handle. Russia is being overwhelmed by these Ukrainian drone swarms, and now Ukraine is also escalating its use of these Flamingo cruise missiles, which have a real significant range, and they're causing massive damage. So you've got the drone swarms and then separate swarms serving as decoys. Then these Flamingo ballistic missiles, one after the other. They're precise. They're hitting their targets in Russia right now. And you got a very serious situation there in Russia taking place. Zelensky announced that he's launching a 40-day special operation to end the war, utilizing these drone swarms and these flamingos. I want to share with you the military tactics going on here, what's taking place, and I want to show you visuals that you're probably not seeing many other places. Let's just take a look at this map right here. So yesterday, here's what we saw, this Ukrainian drone swarm raid into Western Russia and Crimea. And that's been a constant. Remember earlier this week, I've been showing the areas in Crimea, the air defense systems, nearby oil depots just totally destroyed. I also showed you a few days before that, air defense systems, infrastructure in Moscow, Ukraine picking these off one by one. What they're doing is they're also forcing Putin to put the air defense systems inside Moscow and moving it away from the front and other areas. And once Ukraine sees the air defense systems move, boom, they start attacking those areas as well. 2 days ago, we saw these large-scale drone swarms that were attacking as well in the east. You see the graph right here of where these attacks were taking place.
Stay on this video and I'll tell you how Donald Trump is in trouble. They got him. They got him. He's in big trouble. Here's the thing. I really, not enough people even cover this, even talk about this, what he's doing. Because I've seen in the last 18 months, I'm the only person on here, stay in touch with this. I always give you context, what it means to us as liberals fighting Trump. Okay, so it's not about news, it's about context. All right, so let's go. Donald Trump has pissed off the wrong people. Let me tell you like this. I'll give you the first example. First example he pissed off was all the law firms. He went after the law firms last year, which is like, really? That's like going to a street with nothing but martial arts schools on it and saying, let's fight, and you don't know how to fight. You're about to get your ass whipped. Then he went around and started picking a fight with judges. I guess nobody taught him. Well, he probably learned it, but he didn't learn.
Want powerful futures tools, insight, and speed? Then you should check out Robinhood.
The judicial branch is a power all its own, and no, he does not own the Supreme Court. And many people wrongly say he owns the Supreme Court. If he did, they would not have ruled against him on tariffs. He lost a lot of money. Now, they do some horrible rulings in this week. They have all across the immigration. We don't know if they get rid of birthright citizenship. They voted against the Voters' Rights Act, which sucks. You know, fucking with black people's right to just fuck with everything, right? But here's the good news. They only handle 1%. At the most, they'll deal with maybe 70 cases. Last year, they dealt with 56. So down here, you got the appeals court and the lower courts. They handle 99% of the cases. Keep following me here. Keep following me. You're going to love this where he gets in trouble. They have 99% of the cases, and we're winning by 80% with the attorney generals, according to Letitia James, on all the attorney generals, who's the AG for New York, who's the one who got Trump to be a felon, that he lost in New York, and they won't remove it. He's been asking, but they don't remove it. And he can't pardon himself, and nobody else can pardon him because you can't pardon a state-convicted felon, all right? Then you have the nonprofits who are fighting back and forth. Again, keep listening to me here. I'm going somewhere with this. You have the nonprofits who are, you know, by the hundreds who've been fighting back and kicking his ass, losing by 80%. I'm going somewhere. And then you have the judges who've been striking shit down. Now, let's get into that. What if they've been striking down? Damn near everything from DEI, immigration, so on. But the most interesting stuff they've been striking down is what he's been trying to project authority with. See, as we all know, he lies 24/7. He manipulates. Look at this $400 million plane versus Epstein list. And he projects, now pay attention, projects authority he doesn't have. So he tries to sign in an executive order shit he can't do. You don't have the power to. So here's where he's in trouble, because if you've been following me, I'm going somewhere with this. He keeps losing all these cases by 80%, the lower cases, right? And since the Supreme Court only deals with 1%, they can't take everything up there. I want to set this up nice and structured for you. It's only been about 30-something minutes now. What he's done is gotten mad because he's going to get impeached and possibly, good chance, we hope so, kicked out, because there's a blue wave coming in. When you have a blue wave coming in, we may be able to convince other senators to kick him out. I know we're going to have the majority in the House, more than the majority, to impeach him. Then it goes over to the Senate. Keep following me here. It goes over to the Senate. When it gets to the Senate, the thing that happens next is what? They have to have 2/3, meaning 67 people to kick him out. We got 45 right now. There are 22 seats open for re-election in November. Are we going to get all 22? No, probably not. Are we going to get a majority? Good chance we got to get a majority. So you got that going on, right? I want to point out what the deal is, what is going on, what's really happening right now. Because this is going to be a big shift to. What we're talking about, what a big shift to, okay, is that there's going to be an ability to influence the Republicans, senators who want to get Trump out the door. And there's a good chance that could happen because he's pissed him off and tried to put the fear of God in them and try to get them to pass the SAVE Act. Why are senators refusing to pass the SAVE Act? Well, because the SAVE Act will require more ID and verification. And if that happens, senators get less votes. And they got a blue wave coming, so we could get a lot of Senate seats. The Republican senators are spending $300 million this year to campaign and make sure that the Democrats don't get it. Remember, Democrats and Republicans are billion-dollar institutions. Keep following me here. I'm telling you, I'm going somewhere. This is where he's in big, 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 big trouble. So here's the thing. He has this scenario where he's pissed off the Republican Senate who's feeling threatened. Then you have this situation with all the courts telling him, no, you can't make shit up. You can't decide that you're going to end mail-in ballot. A judge just said that. Boom, you can't do it. He can't just go and do it anyway. He can't. He doesn't have the power to.
There's something people with a serious diagnosis desperately wish they'd done while they were still.
It's not that, oh, he doesn't care about the law. We don't care what the fuck he cares about. He doesn't have the power to. And then the second thing comes in, it gets interesting because we look at the scenario that he's in right now, where he's losing, like I said earlier, 80% of the time in the court. So he's losing on the lower courts and can't take everything up to the Supreme. I want you to remember these things as I tell you why he's in big trouble. This guy, this is where it gets interesting. This guy is firing by the hundreds and over the last 18 months by the thousands intelligence officers. And he's still doing it. NSA, CIA, FBI.